What's up, guys? Welcome to Chiefs Chat, episode 35. And in this episode, I'm going to go over the playoff picture as of right now, December 31st, 2020. Happy New Year's Eve, everybody. Great stuff. But I'm going to go ahead and look at the playoff picture as of right now and let you guys know who I believe has the best chance at taking down the Chiefs. But to be honest, guys, I'm not seeing anybody on this list that really has a solid shot. Seriously. The AFC doesn't scare me whatsoever. Maybe there's a couple of teams in the NFC that, I'm kind of worried about. That being the Packers, Seahawks, maybe the Saints. Not really worried about the Saints, though. We beat them. But overall, I'm just not worried about anybody in the AFC. But there are a couple of teams that I think have a solid shot at maybe making a run and trying to beat the Chiefs. Everybody has dreams. Everybody has aspirations of beating the Chiefs in the playoffs. I don't think anybody sees it happening, but there's a chance. At the end of the day, there's a chance. It's happened before. If the Raiders can beat the Chiefs, then the Bills can beat the Chiefs. The Steelers can beat the Chiefs. If the Raiders can do it, anybody in the playoff picture certainly can. But it's the playoffs, guys, and Andy Reid is not going to hold anything back. Patrick Mahomes is not going to hold anything back. We saw that last year. It didn't matter how many points we were down by. It doesn't matter what point in the game that we were losing by. It didn't matter. We still ended up winning that game. So, yeah. Seriously, just before I even get into this, I'm going to let you guys know, I don't think any of these teams have a solid shot. They have a chance, but not a solid chance. No, not a solid shot at all. But, okay, so here we go, guys. All right, so as of right now, the Chiefs have completely locked up the number one seed. So we get the first round bye. We're not going to have any football to watch on the first week of the playoffs, wild card round. I'm sure, we can watch those games, but we're not going to have any Chiefs football to watch in the wild card round. But right now, second place here, we've got the Buffalo Bills. Now, we did beat the Bills by a touchdown earlier this season. Patrick Mahomes didn't play as well as we'd expected him to. The Bills defense stepped it up a little bit in that game. But in my opinion, the Bills, am I worried about the Bills? A little bit. I would say I'm kind of worried about the Bills. Obviously I don't think they're going to win. I don't think they have a shot at winning. But, out of all the teams on this list, I think they're, probably one of the best, to be honest. Josh Allen is playing MVP level football. Excuse me. And you know what? Stephon Diggs. I had him in my fantasy league this year, and he absolutely killed it for me. So, that connection I'm a little bit worried about when it comes to the Chiefs being able to stop, their offense. But when it comes to the Bills' defense, I don't think they're going to do enough at the end of the day to stop the Chiefs. Because like we saw last year against the Texans, I think this team actually is a bit similar to the Texans last year in the sense that they have a superstar quarterback. They have an incredible wide receiver. Texans had DeAndre Hopkins back then, and the Bills have Stephon Diggs. And when it came to their defense, they were just kind of average, Obviously, coaching staff is a lot different. The Texans had Bill O'Brien, and he's kind of trash. But the Bills, they have a similar type of play style, I would say. Similar team, I would say. The Bills actually met the Texans in the playoffs in the wild card round last year, and the Texans got the better of the Buffalo Bills. But I do think they are a very, a lot better of a team now. Especially now that Josh Allen has had a year to, get that playoff experience and then really be able to build from it. I think it's, really showing in his game this year. So, but the Bills, okay, so do I think, that defense is going to be able to stop the offense? No. The Chiefs' offense, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen do on the offensive side of the ball. Patrick Mahomes is not going to hold anything back. Especially in a late game situation, he's going to do whatever it takes. So, Bills, not worried about the Bills. Pretty good team, not worried. Now we got the Steelers, okay? Everyone was high on the Steelers. They were 11-0, but they had an easy schedule. Okay, that's what everybody says, and it's true. They just had a very easy schedule, and then they started to lose a couple of questionable games. Okay, they lost to the Bengals. They lost to, who else did they lose to? I think they lost to the, they lost to the football team. The Washington football team. So a couple of very, very, very concerning losses. They had a very nice comeback win against the Colts last week, knocked them out of the playoff picture big time. But the Colts still have a chance. But either way, okay, the Steelers, I'm not worried about them in the slightest. If you're a Chiefs fan and you're worried about the Steelers, let me give you a couple of reasons as to why you should not be worried about the Steelers at all. Okay, obviously, 12-3 record right now. They have a game against the Browns coming up, and that game will actually tell us a lot. But oh my gosh, guys, this Steelers team, the defense is great, obviously, a very good defense. But the offense is just absolutely mediocre. I feel like if the Chiefs defense played this Steelers offense, it would be lights out. It would be simple as that. And mean, the Steelers have an incredible pass defense. That's what they're known for. But the Chiefs have shown in multiple occasions that we can find different ways to win. We can do it in so many different ways. Having Clyde Edwards-Helaire back would be a big thing, and obviously that first round bye really helps Clyde Edwards-Helaire to get healthy. So I'm sure he'll be back in time for that, and he's going to crush that Steelers pass rush. I don't see anybody on that Steelers defense being able to stop their run. The Chiefs' rushing attack hasn't been phenomenal this year, but I think it's good enough. We have a lot of superstars in that backfield. We saw what Darrell Williams was able to do last week. He was phenomenal. And then obviously having Le'Veon Bell, questionable stuff. But Clyde Edwards-Helaire is the guy who I think we should really lean towards in this Steelers matchup, in this potential Steelers game here. So, but as it stands right now, they play the Browns next week. But if the playoffs, if the standings were to stay the same, the Steelers would play the Browns here. It looks like, yeah. Oh no, they would play the Ravens. It looks like they would play the Baltimore Ravens. So yeah, the Steelers versus the Ravens. That's a good game. But in my opinion, would they even win that game? I'm not sure, honestly. Lamar Jackson's great. So, yeah. Steelers, I'd be surprised if we see him in the playoffs. But if we do, I'm not worried, and neither should you. Shouldn't be worried at all. So, number 4, we got the Titans, and they are leading the AFC South here. And the Titans, they've had a great season so far. Phenomenal stuff. Ryan Tannehill, look at the guy. Did anybody expect him to be as good as he was when he left the Dolphins? Nobody thought he was going to be this good. But he went to the Titans. He found a system that works for him, and he's been phenomenal. He's passing the ball great. They've got a lot of weapons on the offensive side of the ball. A.J. Brown is a very great receiver, and then obviously Derrick Henry. Okay, but here's the thing about this Titans team: we met them in the playoffs last season. In the AFC Championship game, we saw the potential of that team to be able to make a deep playoff run, and it didn't matter. It really didn't. Our defense really did step up, and here's the main point I want to make about the Titans, okay? So, it is a little scary, okay? Derrick Henry is an absolute beast, and all season the Chiefs have been very bad at trying to stop the run. But this has been a storyline for this Chiefs defense for quite a while now. Last season we weren't able to stop the run as well as we have, ever, really, honestly. This is, pretty much, the two-year stretch for the Chiefs when it comes to our defense. It's been pretty bad at being able to stop the run. And that was the storyline going into last year's game against the Titans in the AFC Championship game. Are we going to be able to stop Derrick Henry? And we definitely were able to. We stopped him right in his tracks. I believe he had like 60 yards or something like that, which, isn't bad necessarily, but it's pretty bad for Derrick Henry standards. So if we were able to do that last year, I don't see why we can't do that this year. We've got guys like Chris Jones and Frank Clark who obviously need to step up and be able to stop the run in that game, but, Derrick Henry, if we can stop him, that's the key to victory. If we can hold Derrick Henry to under 70 yards, I'd say that's an automatic W, honestly, because he is really the key to their offense. He led the league in yards. He's leading the league in rushing attempts, so that they rely on him a lot. So if we can shut that down, it's a win. It's wraps, period. But honestly, other than that, the Steelers' defense isn't going to be able to stop the offense. So Titans, not worried about the Titans. Okay, seriously not worried about them. All right, so now we got number 5, okay, the Dolphins. I am not worried about the Dolphins in the slightest. We played them recently. They gave us a run for our money, but I am not worried about them at all. We're used to their system at this point. We did end up beating them, and we adapted in that game. I think we learned a lot from that game against the Dolphins. And Ryan Fitzpatrick, I don't know if they'll end up playing him in the playoffs. He just ended up contracting the coronavirus, so he's on the bench right now. But obviously that's not going to last forever. So I don't know who they're going to plan on starting. Probably Tua, honestly. But we saw from Tua, he wasn't that great against us, against this Chiefs team. He's a smart young quarterback, but I just don't think that team is mature enough to be able to beat the Chiefs in the playoffs. I don't see them as contenders, and if they were to face the Chiefs in the playoffs, it would be wraps. It would literally be wraps. There's no way that they are beating the Chiefs in the playoffs. It's over. So that's all I got to say about the Dolphins. Pretty easy W if we were to face the Dolphins in the playoffs, to be honest. But next up, okay, we got the Ravens. Okay, they're the 6th seed, and a couple of weeks ago, they were out of the playoff picture altogether. A lot of people thought that they didn't have a chance at fighting their way back into this playoff picture, but I've been saying this whole time, okay? The Ravens are the team in the AFC to worry about. All right, I'm worried about the Ravens, okay? Period. Seriously. If I had to put a title on this video, I'm probably not going to end up doing this, but it would be I'm worried about the Ravens, seriously, because the Ravens, All right, obviously going 14-2 last season, which is phenomenal, but this year they've had some struggles. Okay, and we did play the Ravens. I don't know if you guys, it was such a long time ago, but we played them in week 3, and we shut down Lamar Jackson. I mean, he was absolutely, useless in that game. If we can do that again, it's wraps. But I don't think we're going to be able to do that again against the Ravens, because they have so many guys on that offense that just know the system. They know exactly what it is that they're doing. And Lamar Jackson, he's been in the league for long enough to make some noise in the playoffs, I believe. He's had struggles in the playoffs before, but I think this is the year where he takes things, he really takes things to the next level. I mean, he starts performing like a playoff quarterback. So I'm worried. I'm worried about the Ravens. Do I think the Ravens would beat the Chiefs? Absolutely not, because we've played them, 3 or 4 times since Patrick Mahomes has become our starting quarterback, and we've destroyed them in every single game. So I'm not worried about the Ravens, beating us, but I am worried about them in general. I'm kind of worried about them having, the best shot at being able to beat this Chiefs team. So if we were to face the Ravens in the playoffs, I would be worried. I mean, seriously, and I think it's a very real possibility. Because looking at the way things are right now, do I think the Browns would be able to beat the Bills? No, I don't think the Browns would be able to beat the Bills. So the Bills would move on. And then when it comes to the Steelers versus Ravens game, I think the Ravens have a very good shot. And that concerns me, because the Ravens are the 6th seed. So if they were to win that game, they would move on to play the 1 seed, which is us. So it could be a potentially disastrous matchup. But honestly, in my opinion, I think we got the Ravens pretty much checked. At this point, I think we know their system. I think we've played John Harbaugh enough to know what he's going to do. Obviously, run the football with Lamar Jackson. But, that goes back to the point that I made with the Titans. Our run defense just hasn't been good at all. And having a guy like Lamar Jackson and Gus Edwards, I believe his name was, and just having a lot of great playmakers on that football team, it's going to be tough to be able to stop them. Consistently be able to shut down Lamar Jackson. We were able to do it in week 3, but Lamar Jackson is a game-to-game kind of guy. Sometimes he performs incredible, sometimes he doesn't perform as well. It's just how it is. So the Ravens, I would say that I am definitely the most worried about the Ravens in the AFC. So there you go, guys. I mean, the Ravens. Could be a hot take. So, some of you guys might not be able to agree with me on this point, but I think the Ravens are the scariest team in the AFC. I think that's just how it is, honestly. So, Ravens at number 6. To round it out, the Browns are at number 7. The Browns, they're a very inconsistent football team. They're 10-5. I think they're definitely growing. They are definitely playing very well, and they are 3rd in the AFC North. Goes to show how good that division is, and the Browns are currently in the playoffs. So, yeah. Got to give Browns respect. They are having a great season, and I love seeing. Honestly, I'm kind of a Baker Mayfield fan. I love what he's done with the Browns franchise, because you look at the history of quarterbacks that has just been absolutely unable to do anything in Cleveland. I just like the way that Baker Mayfield was able to get in there and get things done. I like that about him. So hopefully things continue to grow there. But I think they are a very inconsistent football team, and when they play good teams, they are bad. They don't play well at all. And actually, I believe right now, a crazy stat here, but I believe right now, they are the only team in the playoff picture that has a negative point differential, which means their opponents have outscored them in all of the games that they've played. Which goes to show that the Browns, when they lose, they lose. I mean, they get blown out. And typically those are against very good football teams. So the Browns, I'm not concerned about the Browns whatsoever. And the last team that we maybe have to worry about is the 10-5 Colts, who are right now outside of the playoff picture. It would take a Browns loss for them to get back in. If the Browns win, then it's over. They can't get in the playoff picture. So, unless the Ravens lose, and that's a possibility, or the Dolphins. It's kind of a mix-up there. But overall, I mean, I don't see the Colts making it in there. I think these bottom 4 teams are pretty solid. Maybe the Dolphins lose. I think there's a possibility of that happening. They play the Bills next, so I mean, honestly, now that I think about it, I think the Dolphins might be out. I mean, it's looking pretty tough. But the Colts pretty much have an automatic win with the Jaguars, so they have a shot at making it in. If we played the Colts, would I be concerned at all? No. Phillip Rivers, we know the guy. Okay, period. I mean, we know exactly how he plays. We know what he does, so not worried about that offense at all. The defense has been kind of subpar, not fantastic. Unable to stop Patrick Mahomes at, Well, you know what? Now that I think about it, last year we did play the Colts, and they did, actually play very well on the defensive side of the ball. So the Colts might be a team to watch out for, but I'm not worried. Okay, seriously, not worried about the Colts. So, that's the episode for today. Looking at all the playoff teams right now, and I think out of everybody, the Ravens have the best shot at being able to beat this football team. Patrick Mahomes has a lot of work. He's got a lot ahead of him. He's got to be able to find good matchups against these football teams, and I think he's going to be able to do it pretty easily. Not worried about the AFC. A couple of teams that are doing pretty well, but I'm not worried about any of these teams. Really making a run against the Chiefs. So that'll do it for this episode. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next Chiefs Chat. Peace out.